Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand. Welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Thursday, August 3-1, 2023, around 3:15 p.m. Eastern. Make the effort and feel what it's like to be totally freed from the good and bad opinions of others. For this next week of your life, imagine how it might feel in your body to be completely, truly, and honestly free from everyone's thoughts, opinions, and judgments of you. No matter what anyone says, it could be your mom, your dad, or some stranger. It does not reflect in any way who or what you are at all. Instead, you realize that the divine, infinite, spiritual being who you truly are is beyond all thought and concepts completely. This non-attachment to others' opinions of you is one of the most self-loving, natural, and honorable ways we can live each day. This is the golden key that turns the lock to realizing at the core who and what we are is already a powerful, divine, and magnificent spiritual being. This spirit and soul, who we really are, in essence, is already, always free. Take the risk to get to know your basic spiritual nature. Feel the essence of your infinite spirit inside. This is something that cannot be contained, imprisoned, nor taken away by anything or anyone in the outer world. Realizing this is real freedom, and this spiritually free feeling is our natural state of being. All exploration and expression from this place is the most loving act we can give to ourselves and others. The full expression of our spiritual nature is the deepest gift we can give, as it is the greatest honoring of who we truly are. You may think that becoming a wildly liberated human being is not the top priority on your to-do list this week. Yet, if it's not in there somewhere, you definitely aren't going to enjoy doing anything on that list of yours. Without wild freedom, your entire life becomes a chore, a burden, and heavy job that must be accomplished just so that you can get your wants and needs met. If and when you don't stop this nonsense and turn that golden key to unlocking the spiritual freedom, you will miss out on the core purpose of your life, which is to enjoy the short time you are here and alive. It is only by experiencing truth on your own freedom happens. Freedom is the fragrance of the experience of truth, Osho. So the very first basic step to freedom is learning how to continuously let others think of you 24 hours. This means releasing what you think your immediate friends, family, coworkers, and lovers think about you. Honestly. Do you know exactly what goes on in their minds? When you stop what you think their opinions are of you, you can actually release whatever your opinions are about you. As long as you are attached to what anyone thinks about you, you'll never be able to be totally free from what thinks, believes, and about you. The mind is like a obsessed judge. It is always judging, comparing, labeling something or someone, then changing its mind again and judging again. The mind is a genius and creating all sorts of fanatical, exaggerated opinions, beliefs, and stories. When we understand this truth, It's easy to totally let go of what others think of you, for their opinions will always change. This creates the space inside you to think outside the box and believe whatever you want to believe about who and what you are. This spaciousness is the very source of your greatest freedom. Just step back from your thoughts, for they are all borrowed ideas from other people anyway. They are borrowed ideas from other people anyway. Deep down, this life is more humorous and ironic than we realize. We are creating all of our suffering and joy all day long, every day. We are responsible for it all. The irony is that each day along this lifelong journey, at the very core of our being, is a river of perpetual, loving, creative energy, overflowing with this deep, healing peace. We don't have to do or go anywhere to find it. All we simply need to do is sit, become deeply relaxed in the body, and train the mind to not cling to any thought that arises. It takes some time to relax the body. Be truly cling-free and deeply find peace. Yeah. Doing so, you will experience your soul essence and spiritual nature. There is nothing more important that you should be doing with your life. The more often that we practice being at peace with what arises in the mind, the easier it becomes to experience every ordinary thing in life as divine. God follows us wherever we go. Whenever the mind clings to something extra important or special, notice this with awareness and don't push it away. Don't label anything as bad, wrong, or a problem. If you do, this in itself will become what's blocking you from feeling an enlightened, liberated state. Welcome all thoughts with great curiosity and explore what is beneath each one. You'll see that there is nothing there. Each thought is recycled information gifted from the outer world that we shouldn't take personally at all. If and when you want to get down to the core of you, ask yourself some deep personal questions. What hole inside you are you trying to fill? Where do you feel trapped in your life and why? Write down these questions and your answers. Make this a 20-minute enlightening exercise that gently opens the door to your soul. When you discover where you feel trapped and empty, you'll see why you're clinging to those things that you cannot let go of. This understanding is the most important next step of your wild journey coming ahead. The real battle is won when we see that there are no real enemies out there, and that the only real enemy is the imaginary one within our own mind. This realization is a sacred path to our enlightenment, and finding our inner wildness within is the bridge back to our spiritual essence. Simply because our spiritual nature is wild, free, and untamable. Expressing this wild spirit within ourselves awakens us from the almighty ego trip we are on. It unlocks the door so that we can step into the vast universe and deeply take care of our wounded selves in the most sensitive, loving, and healing ways. When we discover this connection to our real spiritual nature, we instantly see how every human being is a soul and a spiritual gift to our lives as well. From this place, each person we encounter becomes the source of more love, joy, and inner peace in our lives. When we give ourselves permission to feel spiritually connected when amongst others, we truly become the wild, unstoppable, free being we were born to be. We no longer feel wounded, avoid others or resist letting ourselves be nourished and loved. We start embracing the divinity that we all actually are. The more we practice feeling into this spiritual connection, the better life feels and the more real our divinity becomes. Understanding that you are a spiritual being. You realize there is nobody to fight with or against anymore. You see everyone as your friend and greatest teacher. When we can live 24 hours of one day knowing we are all sacred, divine, spiritual beings that will never, ever, ever, ever die, we will stop suffering completely. The fight will end with others and within ourselves. We can all then realize together that we are the ultimate authority of our individual realities. The fight will end with others and within ourselves. We can all realize together that we are the ultimate authority of our individual realities and capable of creating heaven any moment we want to on this earth. People always ask what is meditation? What is it? What do you do? How do you do it? Simply put, meditation is a listening with a receptive heart. Meditation is a listening with a receptive heart. Buddha said that. The greatest shift that any human being can have in this lifetime is the experience of a full self-realization. What is self-realization? Well, there are many definitions which point to it. Yet ultimately, it is a fancy word for realizing that the unlimited, all-powerful, omniscient self, who you truly are, this means we must go beyond every idea, concept, and boundary which we've defined ourselves to be. Self-realization is an endless journey where we not only realize this physical form all day long, yet we have a direct experience of it with everything and everyone. We feel and sense a reverence for the spiritual being we truly are. That is not separate from this world around us. It is the most profound awakening process one can have, which expands you every moment of the day, becoming an integrated aspect of everyday life. There really is no deeper transformation in consciousness that any human can have than becoming self-realized. The change in perspective is so completely radical and utterly life-morphing that nothing else can compare. Take the most profound experience of your life. Most profound. experience of your life. And then stretch it so it continuously grows and expands 24 hours a day. This is a taste of what self-realization is like. Your entire experience of reality is so different. It's as if you had been an Eskimo living for 70 years in the Arctic Circle, and then one day you decided to pack your bags and permanently move to Hawaii. The reason why it is so important to understand how ridiculously different the experience of self-realization is, because it helps the mind drop any possible attempts to formulate a hardened concept about it. What it actually is cannot be grasped by the mind. The more the mind tries to think that it knows what self-realization is, the further we drift away from the experience of it. There is no mental concept in this universe that can prepare you for self-realization. The more the mind tries to think that it knows what self-realization is, the further we have a tendency to drift away from the experience of it. There is no mental concept in this universe that can prepare us for self-realization other than a perpetual willingness to surrender into the mystery and curiosity of it. We would all like a formula for a way to live life that is more enlightened and liberating. The problem is that every formula that works once is not going to work forever. All formulas last for a limited period of time, and then we outgrow them. This is because the nature of our consciousness is meant to expand, become more flexible, and diversified. This is only through absolute surrender to the infinite universe can self-realization be invoked and gifted to you. This level of surrender means you're inviting in the feeling that anything is possible, which means you must let go of just about everything you've known to be true. And it's not easy to let go of our beliefs, yet it is the only way we will ever find experience of being truly free. The identity oneself, to identify oneself with the body and yet to seek happiness, is like attempting to cross a river on the back of an alligator, Ramana Maharishi. To begin this seemingly impossible spiritual quest for freedom, all begins with inquiring into the source and center of who and what you actually are. When you relax, meditate, and dive into the center of you, there you will first find the mind and dive. You will first find the mind and its stories about you. The infinite experience of you is behind these thoughts. It comes from diving into the center of your presence, your essence. And there you can go into it for infinity. There is always another experience within the center of each experience. It's how we become centered with a spiritual essence. It's life. It is always the most random, expansive feelings which redirect our attention away from who we think we are and towards rediscovering our unlimited creative source of consciousness. If you notice, whenever you talk about yourself, you usually refer to the words me, my, or I. When you feel into the experience of me, my, or I, what do you notice and perceive is there? Look for a long period of time. You must be infinitely patient with this inquiry because it is the first step toward uncovering the real you, and is vastly deep and transforming. The longer that you can maintain a focus of inquiring who or what I am, the faster you will realize the shocking truth of who and what you actually are. Try out this. See what happens. Imagine that who you are is contained within the small dot inside this circle. We've said this before, it bears repeating. So you got the big circle, just like on a white, this bright white paper, and you draw this big circle. And then in the circle, very center, is a dot. You picture this. The dot is the self you believe you are. This means everything which you have identified with that can be written down on paper. Your name, friends, job, your gifts, physical appearance, your attitude, personality, and the way others see you is all part of your identity. The dot represents your mind, with all the information stored inside it. As well, your emotions, memories, beliefs, and every piece of good and bad information inside your physical body. Everything you know to be true. You, about your reality, is contained within a tiny dot. Now, the circle around the dot represents everything in our future we have yet to see, experience, know, and learn. It contains our intuitive higher self that says who and what we are includes the ego, mind, and body, yet also welcomes everything beyond it as well. Meaning, you could find yourself knowing who you are is not just your body, yet anything around you. You could feel yourself to be a tree, animal, plant, person, the sun, moon, star, planet. You could extend your idea of yourself into anything and everything in this entire universe. The circle represents every piece of information you don't know is on Google, as well as in the buried ancient history books and Akashic records throughout time. Now, if and when you look closely at the circle, you'll see there is an outer circumference where the black edge meets the pure white background. This white background can expand into infinity. This edge represents the edge of the unknown and is where the experience of self-realization is found. We must choose not only to let go of identifying ourselves as a body-mind, yet also be continuously expanding our sphere of what we know is the unknown and surrender to the unknowable. We can call this infinite white expansive space, God, love, consciousness, source, or any word that works for you. However, the truth is that there is no word large enough to describe this boundaryless container which allows for everything in this universe to play upon it. This is the great mystery of this life, which every mad scientist fights with to understand. Yet the mind will always be too small of a container to get it. To fully experience and realize who and what we actually are, we must realize anything, release anything that can be known with the mind, and surrender into the infinite mystery behind it all. It is in this direct relaxation into our foundation that we find our spiritual connection and our boundless infinite potentiality. We instantly realize that we are a spirit being who is beyond this body, beyond time, beyond all places, shapes, and forms. When you judge another, you do not define them, you define yourself. Wayne Dyer. By living everyday life on this outer edge of infinite possibilities, we become rooted in the deepest truth of who we truly are. We experience enlightened relationships with everyone in our lives because we see they are also a part of the mystery, living in this great unknown. We then become this ever-growing expansion of godly experience that is always increasing in love, joy, and curiosity. When we find this infinity within us, where all thoughts and forms abide in, we can rest in a state of pure consciousness. It is from this resting within the core of our real self where we can effortlessly allow everything to be in perfect order. Seeing the divine is orchestrating the universe to blossom exactly the way it needs to. The experience of self-realization can come and go in an instant. We really don't need to meditate 40 years to get it. It all begins with a choice in each moment to let this go of any identification we have with this body-mind and exchange it for a more expansive experience of life. So it's partly pure intention and part total surrender. We must go from thinking we are a limited human being with many problems of this world to knowing we are on a great spiritual journey through an unlimited life. This leap requires absolute risk and trust, as the nature of the mind-ego identity is to try to cling to the old. It wants to find security in that which does not change. Yet everything of this world changes. The only thing that does not change is the infinite background, or the God that you truly are. The only way to real freedom in this life is through changing our perspective. When we can shift from thinking, I live in the body, to the body lives in me. Our reference point to me, myself, and I is expanded. We are no longer imprisoned to just the body and mind. We realize we are the unknowable. The identification with who we are is then found in everything. We experience life beyond the known and unknown circles of information we think are there. Self-realization is huge. However, it is not too huge to experience it in our daily lives. For it to root and be real, we must be willing to practice integrating this expansive perspective on a physical level. We must choose to find complete relaxation with all the feelings, memories, ideas of who we were, who we are now, and everything that we will become. It is through the deepest acceptance of our small self that we can expand into our unlimited self. We are forever going to be this tiny dot that is also expanding into the infinite universe that exists around us. This is life. We have no other choice yet to accept it and relax into the deeply eternal, loving, and accepting divine blackboard that is behind it all. Now, kind of a visualization is that man cannot discover new oceans unless he has the courage to lose sight of the shore. Andre Guide. That's very true. In this life, many of us keep an eye on the shore while we're in the water, because it gives us a false sense of security. And that's the ego mind. We are the pulsing heart of the emptiness, the mountain strength of the vastness. Pam Wilson. There are so many people that say they feel like they've fallen off the path. Okay? Or they think that for some reason, they just don't believe that they're on the right path. That they say that, for some reason, I just don't believe I've ever been on the right path. So when the frail egoic human persona takes over, we tend to get wrapped up in identifying ourselves as small, limited, powerless, time-bound beings who are imprisoned in a physical human form. The human experience can hypnotize us into believing that we are lost, poor, insecure, unhappy, or simply off track. Good news is that the truth is always much bigger than the mind can fathom. Whenever we perceive life to be some random, confusing experience, take an after just these 5. They'll open up the inner avenues of connection so you reestablish the heartfelt relationship with your spiritual essence and soon discover the all-powerful, magical, manifesting being you truly are again. Now, the first step you take to opening the door to meeting your sacred soul starts with feeling into your basic core nature. Who are you, innermost level? You are a super powerful divine being exploring, exposes you to become the highest authority of your reality in your life, where you decide what is real and what is not. You are the one who is constantly seeing, believing, and perceiving mind is always right about what it believes is real. It's never wrong about what direction it's thinking. Even if you fall off the deep end and you believe that 1 + 2 = 4, the mind will be very righteous about that. And there are people like this. The mind is all coiled up in an old habit of making up fantastic stories about who and what and are not. You drop into your core basic nature, mindless, still, and free from all thought. The mind will still try to say that you are not enough of this and too much of that. Do not listen to your heart instead. There is an unlimited field of loving, sweet energy in your heart, which is the doorway to having a full body, deeply healing, spiritual awakening experience. The second step to revealing your soul is found within this space-time continuum. Where would the soul reside if it was simply resting and relaxing at the center of you? Where specifically and exactly is the core of you? When you look within yourself, where in time is the very center of this thing called you? When you find it, rest for many hours in that space. You'll discover that you are pure, powerful, perfect, sweet, complete consciousness. You are the source of divine perfection. The more we can relax into our center, the easier it becomes to realize that never ever was anything wrong with you. That was all just a big fancy show of the mind, fabricating new stories. Again, your soul is beyond the mind. It is ever-present, eternal witness at the core essence of you, and is always there, always available, and ready to be explored. This is the inner journey everyone is seeking and have been seeking throughout the ages. It is the one that can take lifetimes to discover. And until we find it, we cannot know deep, everlasting peace. But don't worry. It is predestined that we will find our soul. This spiritual stream of sacredness follows us wherever we go. When we can really relax deep down into the core of our being, the eyes of the soul begin seeing through us. We can perceive the universal spiritual path within the mundane and understand how it's true. When we begin to truly trust life, we can feel like we have an infinite amount of time, energy, resources, creativity, and knowledge to get it right. Only in a very deep relaxation can we surrender enough to bathe in our soul's true eternal essence. The ego and mind are set on the back burner. There is no second guessing about it if we arrived in the parking lot of our soul or not. It's so obvious, it's like the difference between knowing the sun is shining or not. There's only this pure feeling of knowing and getting that we are all unlimited, unbounded, perfect beings, connected in each moment to an infinite stream of conscious, intelligent energy. The soul makes us wake up and realize that we can do the impossible. Its energy is so powerful, eternal, cannot be changed. The more we relax into this understanding, the more we stop fighting with our mind and its list of unfulfilled desires. We simply give up following our thoughts blindly around and begin relaxing beneath them into the quiet solitude underneath the mind, which makes everything in life more interesting and less challenging than it needs to be. So the third step is to unveiling your spiritual amazingness is in the practice of a thing called trust. This universe is always protecting you, helping you, serving your highest good. It has never abandoned you and is always here assisting you to blaze through your challenges and find your greatest possible joy in this life. When you trust in this process, and I emphasize trust, everything changes in your perception and reality. This universe is conspiring in your favor. It wants what you want. Be a pro-noac, not a paranoiac. Just notice what it feels like to sit back and relax into the feeling of trusting in the universe and knowing it is guiding you. When we practice the trust vibe, we can listen easily to the subtle hints from the universe. We know our life purpose and spiritual direction, and we stop ignoring it. The trusting signs are there. Just look for them. Take heed. Stop getting in the way of your highest possibility. It is in trusting this universe that we can give ourselves permission to manifest the most amazing, miraculous life we could ever imagine. We actually get what we truly want through trusting. We stop settling for a fear-based, rushed lifestyle that we don't really desire. So I invite you right now to take time to settle yourself into the energy of trust right now. Breathe it into your body. Feel it inside your heart. Practice this one all day long, all night long. Notice how good this feels. See if you can notice how many ways this universe is guiding, assisting, and protecting you in the next 48 hours. It is an amazing feeling when you can remain in the state of trust all week long, as it is this energy which opens the door to let your soul's full presence come flying through. Now, the fourth step to discovering your soul comes from recognizing and letting. Take the time when you're in the grocery line to find out what you're truly afraid of in life. Look deep inside and face whatever old dark demons are inside you. They are just you hiding from your own soul. Your fears are not meant to haunt you and stay with you forever. This is not their purpose. If you are not facing your fears every day, then they are not fully serving you. You're meant to work with fear, push up against it, so that you expand your sense of self, grow beyond it. Release your attachments to what the fear means. Realize each one is merely a ridiculous, misguided thought. Give yourself fully over to being a fearless human being by facing every fear that arises. You get to know your true warrior self as an all-loving, all-powerful, fearless, multidimensional spiritual being with unlimited potentiality. Who knew the darkness would lead us to the light? And with just a little exploration, and our daily journey home becomes a very sacred, healing process. Only you can say where the road goes. Everyone sets his goals for the hour, for the relationship, and for every phase of life. L. Ron Hubbard. Fifth step to uncovering your sparkling, bright soul comes from retaining your brain, retraining it. Retraining your brain to be alert and remain focused only on that which you truly desire. What do you want in life? Really? What you want wants you to have it. And when you can keep your mind focusing on what you want and off of what you don't want, the most amazing things will manifest in your presence. Nobody cares to hear what's on your long list of complaints. Put your kingdom of don't wants up for sale. Recalibrate your mind to meditate on what you do desire. What are those things that make your heart sing? The simple refocusing of the mind on what you want in this life is incredibly powerful and transformative. Once the mind comes around to the conclusion that as long as it's focusing on what it doesn't want, it's never going to be happy. Then it starts to rely more on pure awareness to liberate it. The mind is already deeply trained and programmed, remember, to rewind and replay the same 60,000 thoughts it had yesterday. It doesn't like to deviate from the norm. Yet when you redirect it to remain focused on what you want to think about all day long, your soul peeks through and opens everything up, like a flower meeting the first morning rays of sunshine. You come to feel the amazing warmth that is inside your being. This is the day you truly know your soul intimately, and it will show everywhere in the most natural, unassuming ways in the all-powerful, deeply eternal loving being you already are. I'll join you in the meditation, and I'll return to close us out. easy and slow breath in through the nose. And an easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still. There are no accidents or coincidences. Nothing is by chance. Everything you experience is a direct manifestation of where you are placing your attention. So, the big question today is, what do you most want to be focusing on? What makes your heart sing the loudest? Today you have time to take a look at this question and answer it. This is the most important thing you can possibly focus on today. True power in life comes from knowing yourself intimately and being completely at ease with whatever you find. Enjoy this exquisite inner journey. Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night, and the following morning. And we will return here Friday, September 1, 2023, 3:15 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation call. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest, deepest eternal gratitude at all times. And watch things shift in miraculous ways, no matter what's going on outside or inside.